Skip ahead to the 1 minute mark for today's message. All right, let's get started. All right. Welcome back, my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier eye hypnosis life healer coach and your personal guide. So today's theme is very important theme, especially if you are a healer, especially if you're a coach. Stick around and you just might find maybe that one nugget that you've been looking for, especially when it comes to creating content. And of course, when it comes to being able to not just, be inspired to begin, but to be able to keep showing up and where you literally get to reach the milestones that have been, either that you have laid out for yourself, or maybe you're part of a larger system, a larger universe. And so you know that there are, milestones ahead, but somehow at present you feel stuck or you kind of lose your momentum or your mojo. So this pod is specially for you. Okay, so let's go. So when we talk about consistency, this is something that most of us struggle with, and most of us get overwhelmed when we think about, okay, how am I going to be able to record so many pods, whether it's podcasts, whether it is creating reels, creating, let's say, longer form content. For most of us, we tend to get stuck in this loop, and rather than keep going, we might start and then we let go of it somewhere along the way. So something that I have found that really makes the difference is, when we talk about consistency, I myself had this major problem for the longest time. And if I go back in time to the early days of YouTube, one part of me was like, maybe I should start now. But the other part was like, oh, there are so many reasons not to start, whether it's technology, whether it is, let's say, hard disk space. I always had a reason not to. And so, I never got started. And then eventually, somewhere around 2019, when I started to create content, I would start, like a lot of you, even I would start, and then I would stop. Sometimes it would be maybe for a couple of days, sometimes maybe for a couple of weeks, but eventually I would stop. If you ask me what made the shift, it was this. When I realized that, I'm going to keep it very simple, I'm going to make it a point to build this into such a deep habit that as long as my identity, who I am, is in sync with creating this content on an ongoing basis, I know that I'm going to be able to literally make sure that this consistency muscle keeps staying active. And it's like, if you want to maybe um, build a habit like, say, fitness or whatever it is that you're thinking of, right? The consistency happens when you're able to do these small activities and you're able to do them in an incremental way. Simple way of explaining that is, 3 years ago when I started doing this work, I didn't have all of this setup that you see, whether it was the tech, the gear, the format, the branding. None of this was there. Just the intent was there, and I said, you know what? No matter what, every single day I'm going to show up, and I'm going to record a pod. Now, whether it is perfect, whether I'm in the perfect state of mind or not, I'm just going to make sure that I record this, because ultimately I will build this into such a strong muscle that as long as I am meant to do this work, I will just keep doing it in the simplest, the most effortless way. So if you've been struggling till now to be able to get consistent, one thing I can tell you is that keep the process simple, have minimal number of steps, and literally, if all it takes is to just take your phone out of your pocket, turn on the video and press record. That's it, right? That is how you start, because that is exactly what I did 3 years ago, where there were a lot of times where maybe, the lighting wasn't great, or maybe it was too late in the night, or whatever it was. But I told myself, before I go to bed, each night, before I go to bed, I will record one video. And I know that as a person, I know that as far as learning habits of being able to, maintain this one macro habit, which is recording a pod every single day, I know that that is something that has now become part of who I am. And as I said, as long as I align with this idea of, reaching out to you and talking to you, I know I will keep doing this effortlessly because the system that I have built is, supporting this belief that I have. And my belief is linked into my identity of who I am. I am the guide, I am guide, I am guidance, I am guiding. And so I really believe in this. And so I know that when I show up like this and I record a pod, I know that this is going to make a difference in your life. And one thing I can also tell you is that with consistency comes a lot of additional harvests. By that I mean, now finally, I have started to focus on editing. I have started to create reels. One could say that maybe even 2 years ago, maybe even a year ago, I could have started making reels. And of course, if you go back to, let's say, my Instagram account, if you scroll back to maybe a year or year and a half ago, you'll see that at one point, this is 2023, I was uploading reels, but somehow it just didn't, beyond a point, it didn't really sink into place. However, I still made it a point to record a pod every single day. And so today, now I'm, stepping into version 2 of recording reels, which obviously will have more of a stickability. And over a period of time, I will be able to create more and more assets. And my prayer for you, especially, you who's out there, healer, you who's out there, coach, my prayer for you is that, may you also create your own path. And as time progresses, you will be able to layer more of these assets that you're creating. But more than anything, you're building the strongest asset that you have, which is consistency. And if you treat consistency like a muscle, remember, if you use it every day, it's going to get stronger. If you stop using it, it will, as the muscles in our body, it will start to atrophy, which means it will start to weaken. And then there'll come a point where it'll be like, what, I don't want to create this, I don't want to do this. So you can either choose that, or you can say, all right, I'm just going to keep it very simple. I'm just going to show up every day, turn on my camera, and just speak into the, not just the void, but you're speaking into someone else's soul. So I wish you all the very best on this. Today was, of course, a special pod. I'm definitely inspired. And of course, shout out to you. Um, Aparna, this one is, kind of in and on reflection of our conversation. So thank you for inspiring me to keep checking within. And of course, I am already on the journey of making newer assets and, taking the best of this format into an additional format. And so, of course, you will hear updates on this project from time to time. And as I said before, and I'll remind you again, this pod is always created for you, especially you who's a healer, a coach, especially, maybe you started this journey, it could be 3 months ago, it could be even 2 or maybe even 3 years ago. And I know what it is to feel that struggle. I know what it is to get stuck. And, maybe you started with that energy, and you started with that inspiration of, hey, you know what, I know I'm meant to be this healer, I'm meant to be this coach. But somewhere along the line, maybe there was an overwhelm that crept in, or somewhere along the line you kind of forgot why you got started on this journey. So the reason why I show up like this is just to remind you that I'm here for you, and that together we can make this happen, because our journey is part of a larger journey of making this world a better place. So, reach out. If there's any way in which I can help you, please do let me know. And this is one format. Of course, in our community, we do meet every Monday and Friday between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. And this program is really, really powerful. It is complimentary for you. So please do reach out and ask for more details. Of course, the link is there in in the comment below so you can come and join us. And in this program, the eye hypnosis life experiences, you get to meet me live, you get to meet members of our community live, and you get to experience the processes that I use to be able to help guide you go deeper. And once you've stepped in, and if you feel that this is working for you, you want to go further, we do on the weekends, every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we do meet. And in this program, we explore some very, very powerful concepts. And also, there's a lot of soul searching, a lot of deep diving. And of course, I'm talking about this program, which is the Eye Hypnosis Life Foundation. And as the name suggests, you get to work on the most important elements, the building blocks. As I spoke about this earlier on today's pod, the first thing is to focus on your identity. So when you discover your soul identity, a lot of the dissonance, a lot of what was holding you back will start to drift off. And once you begin this journey, then you're able to focus on two things. One are your beliefs, which means maybe you had beliefs that were, holding you back, keeping you stuck. Now you get to release them and create new, more aligned beliefs. And of course, if there are any habits that you've been trying to let go of and get rid of, you now have a very powerful, effortless way of letting go of these toxic habits and therefore creating really, really powerful magnetic habits. And lastly, of course, on day three, especially, we focus on money, money in all its glory, money as far as, when we talk about money beliefs, money blueprints, and of course, money breakthroughs. By the end of day three, if you feel that this process has really moved you and you're ready to go even further on the journey, then we continue on and we keep meeting every Friday, Saturday, Sunday between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. And over the course of these next 3 months, you get to really go deep, really do that deeper inner work. You get to do it together as a community. Of course, I'm there to guide you along the way. And in this process, of course, you will see some major, major transformations and breakthroughs that you'll experience over the course of our program. Now, to make this program even more beneficial to you, there is another program that runs parallelly, and this is the Eye Hypnosis Life Mastery. In this program, the focus is on practical applications of the tools, the techniques, the processes that I have been using with you and teaching you, and in fact, um, applying it with you so that you have your breakthroughs. And in the Eye Hypnosis Life Mastery, you get to learn how to do these so that you can take these into your own business, whether you're in the healing space or whether you are a coach. And you get to help your clients and of course work on the most important areas in your life, which include your health and of course your relationships. So this is a very, very powerful process, and it spreads over a 90-day period, and you get to really become that hero in your own universe, in your own world. And when we do this collectively, the results obviously are going to be absolutely fantastic. So these are ways in which you can continue to connect and keep that consistency going. And lastly, of course, if you are someone who wants that personal attention, you want me to mentor you, there are a couple of slots that open up from time to time. And our program is the Eye Hypnosis Live Personal Coaching Program. So definitely look out for details or reach out to me if you want to know more about this. So, as always, having said all of this, remember to live your purpose. And this consistency that I've been talking about right through today, remember when we do it together, when we work this together, life becomes so much more powerful and so much more meaningful. So, having said all of that, of course, as always, remember to live